Okay, we're just introducing Bruno Brandimarte from Brandimarte's farming family here. And Bruno's talking with Stephen Ziegler from Greenbelt Biofert. And they're going to tell us a bit about the story of the biofert in relation to this farm and these pumpkins here.
Okay, well basically, I came to see Bruno and Carlo a few months ago. We started doing some figures, which we always do. It's very important, the yield, as you go through transition. You're starting to look after the soil and improve the health of the soil when you've been using mainly chemical fertilisers. How do you do that economically? It's extremely important. You must look after the yield. And so we did the figures, and Bruno put out, was it a tonne and a half? A tonne a hectare onto pumpkins. So I'll let you talk now about it. This is just made there.
Yeah, we spread the tonne and a half, tonne per hectare, what I put on. And about 4 or 5 weeks after the leaf growing, those 4 rows, you can see they were a lot paler in colour. Stuff that I had applied the product on was a lot more vigorous, and the size of the plant was a lot bigger. And I also noticed reduced watering, because I had another crop of pumpkins where I hadn't applied anything, and I was watering up to 6 hours in that plot, and in where I'd put the green belt I was only watering up to 4, sometimes 5 hours. So yeah, it's been a significant difference between the two, with and without.
When we work out the figures, we work on a 25% decrease in the NPK and match up the nutrients, so it stays much the same. But with most farmers, it's a case of they keep the NPK the same and add the green belt in, just to be sure. And that's what Bruno's done, so that's fine. It's a case of you've got the choice, and now it's a case of, okay, as the soil improves, you cut the NPK back more. And then if you're not organic, certified, it's a case of, okay, where's your best ratio between the chemicals you put in and the biofert, so you're getting the most profit per hectare. Okay, a large vegetable farm that we're working with, west of Brisbane, Calfresh, they have cut back their chemical input by 80% in 2 years. So they, money-wise, Rob said it's much the same because they've reinvested all the money into biofert and just putting it into the soil. Because they got 2 or 3 rotations a year, and they're putting on up to 2 tonne a hectare. They're pouring it back in. They're making it themselves, so it's cheap, but they're putting it back in. And now they'll be able to keep the NPK down and pull back on the biofert, so the money will become more and more obvious. Already, the agronomist was telling me they're saving on diesel because they need to do a lot of cultivating, and they've noticed the problem with diesel because the soil has got a much better tilth. It's less energy to plough. It's less compacted basically, and healthier. So the important thing when you're improving your soil, it's going to affect everything on the farm. So it's not just comparing fertiliser costs, it's also comparing the same as you're making everywhere else, plus you're getting a better product and you can put a premium onto that, which is another market we're developing along the lines of Real Food Network. Here's a healthier product, people will pay more for it because they know that they're lacking their nutrients, they're becoming more educated in this area.
Before, that those 4 rows when I hadn't put the green belt on, I had to apply a lot more NPK to that to try and build it up equal with where I did put the green belt, but it didn't really get equal at all because I couldn't get enough in there. So it's made a big difference by having the green belt in there. But I'm quite sure after I started using it a few seasons, I think I did cut my NPK back. I've got a feeling that it has reduced chemical use through pests, and I think it's also reduced powder yield. It's a little bit early, but that's my feeling at the moment comparing it to other crops we've had.
And when we did the biofert, we just spread it around the tree, so when you do the application of biofert, how do you apply it?
We usually use Mirror-Winnie line. They have a rotary spreader, and they'll spread it under the trees. Yeah, we just need to work out the rate, and then, like Stephen said, it's going to take a bit of time to adjust the NPK. Because I think there's probably a build-up of NPK in the soil now, and you need to let that settle and then let the greenbelt take over, and then you can adjust accordingly.
But it is a spreading. It's an on-top spreading.
Yeah, on the surface. Yeah. Just a belt, conveyor belt running down the centre of the bin, basically, with a rotary blade out the back on each side, just running it under 2 rows as it goes down.
Okay.
Yeah. But like Steve has said, I think the more you use it, the more you will see the benefits.
So can I ask, do you find that after the longest application period for the biofert, that the soil holds more water?
Definitely. Yeah, like I said before, I had a prior crop of pumpkins, which actually were Jap pumpkins, which don't require as much nutrition and water as this variety here. And yet I was watering them. There were periods there where I actually irrigated for 8 hours continuous in the Jap pumpkins. And these ones here, I didn't ever water any more than 5 hours. And the intervals in between were a lot longer with these than it were with the other ones. And yeah, this variety is known to be a bigger feeder and a bigger water user also. So it's made a big difference.
Well, on that, but just picking on your experience there, Bruno, when you say you water for 4 to 5 hours, say, what's your gauge to know that you've achieved your best watering volume?
I have, I don't know if you're familiar with aerometers.
No, I'm not.
Well, I use basically an aerometer is a vacuum gauge connected to a ceramic tip filled with water, and you have one in the ground at 250 centimetres, 25 centimetres I should say, and one at 45 centimetres. And that's where your root zone is, in those 2 areas. You don't overwater to push the moisture past the 45, because then you're pushing the nutrients past and you're wasting it. You generally go off the top one, but when you've got a good root system, you see the 2 work together. So as the top one dries out, the bottom one will too. And you're using a reading of 20 for dry and 10 for wet. So when the gauge starts to get to 18 to 20, you know your time to water. And then you check it. You start the pump up, and within 2 hours of starting it up, you go back and check your meters to see what's happening. As soon as you see it start to fall, when it gets to about 12, you shut the system off. And then another hour later, you'll find she'll drop to 10. And both meters should end up sitting at about 10. If you send your lower meter down to 0, you risk the chance of pushing the nutrients past the root zone. That's the most effective way of managing the water in any pump. I've got an electronic version, but it's the same thing, it's just an electronic version. Now, I used to use the vacuum type. Now I've got one that they call the G-dot, and it has 2 sensors the same, but it's done electronically. It's a bit more accurate.
Using probes, are they like electric?
Yeah, it's got 2 sensors, same thing, one at 25, one at 45.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Would it be suitable to spread on grass pasture for stock?
Yes, it's definitely good for stock, because what it'll do is increase the nutrient value of the grass. So therefore the cows will be absorbing nutrients. It comes back to the finances. If you've got intensive stock like as around behind Malanda, that sort of area, it's great. Obviously you've got to use our western, tight budget. But if it's intensive enough, absolutely, it'll definitely work very well. Because I was actually talking to in the retail side of things, one of the managers was a fertiliser salesman previously, and he said that he's seen calves dying of scour in what looked like lush green pastures, because there was nothing in the soil, so there was nothing in the grass, so therefore the cow was starving, simply eating a lot of roughage. So anytime you've got stock, by increasing, because basically very quickly the plants work through photosynthesis producing sugars, which they then feed to the microbes, and the microbes supply the grass and the plants with what it needs nutritionally. This symbiosis is set up, that's the way nature works. When they receive a shot of artificial N and P and everything else, that they just suck it up, it's soluble, they suck it straight in, they don't need it anymore. So therefore they're not absorbing all the micronutrients. So the way it affects pasture for cows is they get a lot more nutrients. The way it affects fruit and vegetables is that we get more nutrient when we eat it, but also it's got better taste. It's also denser. It's also more pest resistant, because the bugs are nature's garbage collectors. They go to crops which are nutritionally deficient. Same as yourself, it's like when you take antibiotics, it kills your gut flora. So therefore you need to replace that, otherwise you're susceptible to more diseases. And you know yourself, if you run down, you're more likely to get a rash, you're more likely to get infections of whatever sort.
So it would be fair to say that food grown this way would have longer keeping qualities.
Yes. Yep. It's because I don't have a farming background. I'm working out the economics of everything here, and I just sit down and listen to farmers. And one farmer said to me that he said you never use urea on pawpaws, because that form of nitrogen will make them rot on the shelf a lot quicker. Because pawpaws are soft fruits, you've got to be extra careful. So it's all these things add up, and definitely if you've got a healthier fruit, that's denser, that's got more nutrient in it, has got a longer shelf life.
The application stage, the other day when we put it up around some trees and that, was I right in thinking that when you would do the application, there needs to be a cover on the ground to like a grass or some other growth during application, or can it be a bare earth application?
Grasses are great because it's adding biodiversity into the field, and so it is good to put it onto grass. At the same time, if you put it on and put some mulch over it, that works as well, because they'll work their way in. I mean, the roots of the tree are there, so they've already got the roots of the tree. But the more roots they've got to work with, the better, because this whole process is going on. Nature's working together with all the plants on the field to improve the soil when it's given the biofert to kickstart the process. It's not a case of you're putting in a finite amount of nutrients that all the plants are fighting over. This is different. What we're doing is starting a cycle here that is going to grow exponentially. So eventually you're putting less biofert out because the soil's being brought back to life. It's all the good things are happening, and you're just topping up as what's being taken off by the crops. And the fact too that to grow commercially you are in a monoculture environment, so we've got to give it a hand.
So
biofert be added to, say, a lick mix for cattle, would it harm them?
No, it's made for the soil. It's made to rejuvenate the soil.
But I mean, the cowpats go into the soil eventually. So is there any? I mean, it's a long.
It's got to go through the cow first.
Yes. What would the cow get from?
No idea. It's made for the soil. So the easiest way would be to simply be spreading it on pasture twice a year. I'd have to look at what you're putting out now and that sort of thing, but 1 to 2 tonnes, probably 1 tonne a hectare twice a year, and you'll see that pretty quick. If you can afford to put out more at the beginning, get it happening. But I mean, what Bruno's been saying is the fact that with one application, the watering was less. That's amazing. I mean, I'd expect that after 3 applications of 18 months or something, you know.
Just a further question, Steve. If I dig a hole in the ground and use it as a solely, I can plant into it?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. If you're planting, like what Bruno's going to be planting melons, we talked about it a couple of days ago, basically incorporate it into the soil. If you're planting individually at home, you dig out a hole, put a handful, whatever soil you take out of the hole, the same volume of biofert together, mix it up, put it back in. So it's getting your shot straight away right around the root zone. And then if you're doing a one season, like some veggies at home for a couple of months, that may be enough. That, and then add the foliar every couple of weeks. And that's all we really need.
So you are enlivening the soil,
Yep.
making the soil living, full of all the microbes.
Yes.
So the food you produce is living food with all the minerals and vitamins that
That's
humans need.
Yeah.
A living soil. A lot of soils are dead.
Yeah, the soils are dead, and it's through nobody's fault. It's not like it's a case of we've needed to increase the production of food, and I remember that Christine Jones was saying, she's from Amazing Carbon. She was saying that the copper in our food has dropped 40% since 1970. The iron has dropped 50%. You know, there's amazing figures, and that's going to affect our health. And I couldn't work out why 1970 did. It dawned on me at Osveg last year that is the time when the old farmers who kept on composting, who kept up the old practice, were basically retiring. And it became a lot more chemical centred. And this is just a way of, okay, it's been a short experiment that hasn't worked. I mean, the guy who originally invented the activator, he started in high chemical input, high rice growing that went great for 2 or 3 years, and then the soil was dead, diseases set in, pests set in, etc., etc. And he went away and thought there's got to be a better way. And this has been his life's work, is developing the activator. It's got all the fungi and microbes working together. Well, basically, it's been designed with a couple of things in mind. Use our waste to make biofertiliser to food. So it's getting this whole cycle happening. So what that has done is when you make standard compost, you've got to be very careful and put the right ratios in. What we normally do is say to a potential manufacturer, what have you got access to? Down at Calfresh, Rob's using waste, mushroom and chicken litter. So the chicken litter is chicken manure with sawdust, and the waste mushroom is off mushroom farms. And he does that at a 2 to 3 ratio. Up here we're using mulch and chicken litter. That's what's available. It's not as precise as when you're making compost, because the biomass becomes a food source and a living environment for the microbes to multiply into. So the fungus and the microbes are going through it. It's being mixed 3 times a week. It only takes a month. So basically, the very simple explanation is you get your windrow together, or your pile. What determines the best way to go. Then add the activator in, leave it for 3 days. By that time, it should be heating up. If it's not, we've got a moisture issue. We've got to adjust that. As soon as it's heating up, then we start to turn it, and we keep it at 50%, turning it 3 times a week. And after 15 days of being at 55 degrees and above, you're making sure you're killing all the pathogens, your weed seeds, anything like that. And then you stop water, keep turning it, get it back to 25-30%. It's then stable, you can store it for years, as long as it doesn't get wet. And then it's also the spreadable moisture content. And when it gets put out and it hits 40% again, then the microbes come out and get active and start to do the same thing in the soil. So what you put in one year grows to the next year. And then you add more again and more again and more again, and eventually you're at this plateau where you're just popping up each year.
So, and earthworms have to put it down after what earthworms will
Oh, absolutely.
multiply.
Earthworms are a sign your soil is coming back to life. It's starting at the base level and getting everything happening. It's like nematodes. It's not nematodes. You say to most people, they think that they're bad. They think they're a pest. Nematodes, 98% of them are actually beneficial. And the other ones that we call bad, they're not bad. They've got a role in the soil. They're the root-eating nematodes. We call beneficial nematodes. It will kill them, or they'll simply leave, or they'll go inert or whatever. I don't know the whole details there. But basically, those pathogen fungi, microbes, nematodes, they're all there because the soil's dead. Get the soil back to life and they no longer are an issue.
What's the most long-term farm that you've started applying this onto? And have you noticed a decrease, the more nutrients you put on it, have you noticed a decrease on your application that you have to put on it?
We've only been really active for the last 3-4 years in Australia, so we don't have those sort of records. We get back to CalFresh, where he's been making it and applying it, and after 2.5 years, he's cut back the NPK. And he's found that 2 tonnes works better than 4 tonnes sometimes. Yeah. He's got a better result. So it's really getting to that point very quickly. It doesn't take long. I've got photos of his soil, which I showed on Sunday, where he's got fungus growing right through it, and that was after 3 applications in 18 months. And that's on a purely chemical farm. And as I mentioned before too, that his wife said to me, after Osbridge last year, there was a field day out there to look at the results of trials, etc. And she said his love of farming came back after he started making biofert, because he could see an efficient way forward to fix the soil so his kids can take over the farm. Before that, he was putting a lot of effort in and treating water. He was importing things from America, he was doing all various, all sorts of things, whatever he can to fix the soil. And this is just so easy, and it's given great results.
So down the track, however many years, it becomes very cost effective.
It becomes cost effective within a year. Because I work off cost effectiveness straight up, and it's a case of, generally speaking, to give you an idea, if we cut back the NPK by 25%, and taking into consideration market cost of oranges and pumpkins and whatever, in fruit trees, a 2% increase will pay for it. And we're used to seeing 20 and 30% increase, a 2% increase. Cane, 10%. That's a harder one. Cane's got its own issues with basically the economics of spreading. It's not whether it works or not, it's a case of let's look at the big financial picture. What things do they have for the pumpkins, do you remember?
At the end of today, I'll have a good idea on the yield, but it's looking pretty good at the moment.
Right.
It's going to be above 20 tonnes per acre.
And what we're getting for
Probably 15 to 18.
right, okay.
I think these are looking like they're probably going to be about 22 to 25 tonnes an acre. When I finish picking this last block on, then I'll cut it
All right.
there and I'll be able to work it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have my computer with me today, so I can't look up that figure, but that's what I like to get back, basically cut it down to percentage of increase. Okay, time to go in the field and we'll spray some foliar around.